Good morning and welcome to day 42 of F260 at First Baptist Meridian. Today we look at Exodus chapters 34 through 36, the aftermath of the golden calf incident. When God had initially given the instructions for the tabernacle, he had asked for an offering. And this offering wasn't just happenstance, it wasn't haphazard. When God brought his people out of Egypt, one of the signs of their liberation is that the Egyptians themselves sent the Israelites out with the plunders of Egypt. They sent them with gold, silver, clothing that they would not have otherwise had. So when God was going to dwell in the midst of his people and giving the instructions for the tabernacle, he said that an offering should be taken from all of the people, partially as a representation that all that they had was from God. They were entrusting some small portion of it back to him to signify his dwelling in their midst and to celebrate the surpassing worth, more than gold and silver and precious metals, of his dwelling in their midst. However, we know what happened. When Moses was up on the mountain getting the instructions for the tabernacle, the people melted down gold that should have gone to Israel's God, and they made this golden calf. So now we're in the aftermath of that. And these chapters beautifully wrap up the incident. God has promised that he's still going to be with his people. And just like Moses broke the two tablets in yesterday's reading, those two tablets are recut as Moses goes back up the mountain to speak with God on behalf of the people. God reiterates that despite their sin, God does not unknowingly dwell in the midst of his people. Despite their sin, he's still going to come down the mountain and dwell in the center of Israel's camp, in the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. And what's also interesting to me is in yesterday's meeting, the golden calf incident was triggered by the people wondering what's happened to Moses. Where has he been? Why is he gone so long? And in panic, they turned to what they knew, the gods of Egypt. Today's reading, when Moses comes down the mountain, he's glowing, he's radiating because he's been in the presence of God, speaking with him on behalf of the people. There is no question where Moses has been. There's no question what Moses has been doing. And what's so interesting, you see toward the end of chapter 35, what do they do as construction of the tabernacle is about to go underway? They take up a free will offering from among all the people. And the people bring gold, silver, precious metals for the construction of the tabernacle. What they do with their material resources is indicative of how they relate to their to their immaterial God. What they do with their material resources is indicative of how they relate, how they value their immaterial God who's going to dwell in their midst. Previously, they'd gotten it wrong with the golden calf, but now they bring this offering on behalf of Yahweh, the Lord, their God, who will dwell in the midst of his people. And in subsequent chapters, though we're not reading all of them in F260, you have a return to very detailed passages. Just as all those details had been outlined in the instructions concerning the tabernacles, now all those details are executed in the construction of the tabernacle and the various elements and garments and breastpieces for the priest to wear. And the details are important. Again, I think of a movie quote from the movie Swordfish, not endorsing the film, but one of the key characters in the movie says, "I like you, but don't mistake kindness for weakness." We live in a society that is quick to champion God's love and mercy and compassion, but is discomfited by ideas and notions of God's holiness. And throughout the Bible, not just in the Old Testament, in the New, we see a God who, yes, is merciful, yes, is compassionate, but a God who is also holy. And he expects no one to take his holiness more seriously than his own people. That's precisely why these details matter. The closer we are in proximity to God, the more seriously we need to take and respond to his holiness. And that's what you're seeing in these chapters as the tabernacle is built. God is going to dwell in the midst of his people. and his people need to come to grips with what that means. So we'll wrap up Exodus tomorrow with Exodus 40. If you want to read those chapters in between and the details involved, go for it. But I'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, keep reading, reflecting, and responding to the Word of God, and may God bless you as you do so.